So, this week, especially here in the state of Nevada, was the filing qualifications for all the candidates running for office, especially Governor Steve Sisolak, who just filed for candidacy within this week. So, sometime last week, when Sisolak was trying to dine in with his wife and also his daughter, he was met with haters, and they were heckling him, calling him names, even berating him in front of the public. And of course, there was no security there. It was just him and his wife, and his daughter along, who tried to escort them out. Of course, his wife, her name is Kathy Ong, is also who is of Asian heritage, was met with a lot of Asian hate crimes, or being met with a lot of Asian hate during the coronavirus pandemic, along with the other Asians that have been met with a lot of hate name callings, especially during the coronavirus. So I will send you the link of the video for those who are from outside Nevada and never heard the news. But the guy at the restaurant, when he approaches Sisolak, and he says that like it's an honor to meet him, and then he goes on to say how a piece of trash he is, and like he goes on to say that he's a new world order trader, and the list goes on. So the article from the Las Vegas Sun shows in this paragraph that says Governor Steve Sisolak and First Lady Kathy Sisolak were threatened by two men at a Las Vegas restaurant Sunday as one of them forcefully yelled, "We should string you up on a lamppost. You are running into a patriot now," quote unquote. And then it goes on to say here that the video of the 1 minute exchange shows one of the men trying to intimidate Sisolak by saying, quote unquote, "I'm surprised you have the balls to be out there in public, punk, without a cop," unquote. The video was initially obtained by the Review Journal. Yes, it's also in the Review Journal. And then he goes on to say, hey, the governor's office said the men approached asking to take a photo. The exchange at Lindo, Michoacan, yes, that was the name of the restaurant, on West Flamingo Road, turned heated, and the men used foul language and insulted the First Lady's Chinese heritage, just as I said. So, in this article in the Review Journal, it says here, the man in the video has been identified through social media as Justin Anders, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, a self described digital creator whose website and podcast promote extreme right anti government conspiracy theories. A second video posted to social media taken from the table where Anders is sitting in the restaurant shows him rising from the table to approach the governor. So in the video, after Anders taunted that he said, after he called out Sisolak saying how a piece of trash he is, and then that's when Sisolak was on his way walking out from the restaurant, and that's when he Anders, the conspiracy theorist, said, "You're here without security," and he asked a question. So even the Nevada State Attorney General Aaron Ford had went out to say, quote unquote, completely acceptable. Attorney General Aaron Ford wrote on Twitter, "We all should denounce this verbal attack and racist diatribe against the governor and the First Lady. Thankfully, no violence ensued. Real patriots don't act like this, and anyone perpetrating these actions should be held accountable," quote unquote. So pretty much almost all of the Democrats had condemned this kind of action, and the response from the state Republicans have been mixed. While some of them had said to wait for the election, most of them were kind of like defending the action of this heckler who almost tried to assault Sisolak verbally. And so this one here was from Joey Gilbert, who was former boxer and then lawyer, who was also a part of the insurrection on January 6th, he said, quote unquote, think more of a deserving person than Sisolak to get harassed and threatened. Hell no, I don't condemn it. You earned it, Steve. You absolutely earned it. Unquote. And the controversial Las Vegas councilwoman Michelle Fiore, who also made a controversial ad, which I will send you the link, said, quote unquote, lucky it was just words. If you look at the history of dictators, pitchforks will be next. And of course, the Clark County Sheriff Joe Lombardo had also taunted about, yeah, he could understand the frustration of that heckler, it's just a lack of what he called left-wing policies, even though which I don't find really anything that is too far left, according to this, right-wing extremist, as would say. So even the Nevada State Republican chair, who goes by the name of Michael McDonald, the chair of the Republican Nevada State or Nevada State Republican Party, who's also a crazy Trump supporter and who also has heated up division within the Republicans within Nevada State. I will also post you some articles from last year of how Michael McDonald, who also happened to be a sympathizer of the Proud Boys, another racist group, had also been trying to attack Republicans within the Nevada state and also Republicans from within the country who disagree with these people. But he even was so modest out there and moderate out there to even say, quote unquote, there's no place for the behavior and violent threats against the governor we saw on that video from this weekend. But that was actually from one article there for sure. But he also said the place to take the frustration will be in November. So even the craziest of these kind of people, which who McDonald, who is also a you know proud Trump supporter, had even went on to condemn this kind of action from this conspiracy theorists, and he would have went along with the other Republicans who praised this kind of heckling. So I will be making another video about the midterm elections, especially here in the state of Nevada. But let me tell you something about my opinion about like this matter and what what we should learn from it. And I think that it's kind of very obnoxious with this kind of behavior. So, for those of you who follow me on TikTok, have seen or I've posted videos trolling some of the vehicles or an RV with a Joey Gilbert poster. And I've been riding along and I've been passing by, with people waving the Joey Gilbert advertisements. And of course, I don't go out there and start attacking them or start verbally abusing them, and I haven't thrown anything at them. I just pretend I don't see them, or I just roll away, pretend that, they weren't there. And of course, there's also a Republican candidate who's also running for the Nevada State gubernatorial race by the name of Barak Zilberberg, who is with the real estate. I've seen him in some community events, especially in some parties. I just walked by him and I never really said a word to him. But at least what I did not do is, name call him and start approaching him and start, bashing off him. Because I know that's how the way to be civil and, that's the way to be, moderate. And even though you agree or disagree with them. So a poll here from the Nevada Independent says that Sisolak leads governor race. Lombardo tops the GOP field. And this poll here shows the results of the poll conducted from January 19th to the 26th. Sisolak in the lead over two possible Republican challengers, including 4.4 lead with County Sheriff Joe Lombardo, 52.2% to 47.8%, just outside the poll's 3.6 margin of error, and a nearly 9-point advantage against former U.S. Senator Dean Heller, 54.4% to 45.6%. So to conclude this here, to say that uh, Sisolak has been getting a lot of like bashing from public opinion, with in social media and elsewhere. But I have to say that like because during the COVID pandemic, Sisolak made sure that the Nevada state was safe from the pandemic, especially with these mandates. That's why he was able to save the Nevada state from having like a lot of rampant COVID deaths, like the one that had with Ron DeSantis leadership in Florida. And so that's why, with even though that some people were kind of frustrated and had discontent with the pandemic leadership with Sisolak, I think that he did a good job to make sure that Nevada was one of the states around the country with a low COVID death rate, especially right now that he allowed the mask mandates to be lowered, and even though that he gave the option for those to wear masks, and even though I do wear masks sometimes in the public. And so thank you so much for Sisolak for this amazing leadership. And of course, I'm also going to be voting for him.